the sooner you can find others that want to do what you do at the level you want to do it at, you'll create a business that you won't recognize it in a few months or years down the road, because it's now above and beyond what you are.
Talking to people right now that what you've built is like, I'll never do that. And it's like, you can do that.
I keep this quote on my wall. When I was young, my father met Jim Rohn, and he got him to sign a piece of paper that said, "Grady, be the best, Jim Rohn." And I've kept it on my office. It was pretty cool. I was like, Dad, that is like, I didn't know what it was when I was younger, because I was like, a punk kid, right? But then as you age, you're like, this is like one of the greatest of all time speakers and personal development guys.
Thank you for joining us on our Family First Life Tri-State Serve the People podcast. We appreciate you tuning in, spending your time to develop and grow with us. Follow us, please, on all our social media platforms at Family First Life Tri-State or FFL Tri-State. We love you. Keep listening, and I hope this information is serving you across the country.
All right, everybody, thank you for jumping on with us for our Training Day podcast. We have an amazing guest today, my man, business partner, Grady Polcyn, chairman, council member of Family First Life America, integrity partner, and living legend. Grady, what's up, my guy?
How are we doing, brother? Honored to be on here with you. Always a pleasure. And, I'm thinking back to the first call I recorded with you. I remember we're doing about 400 families a month. I'm sitting in my car out in front of an appointment, just talking about what we're doing. And now here we are doing 10, 20, 30 times that a few years down the road. Just shows the opportunity FFL is, and, what we're able to build here. So honored to be on, buddy.
It's absolutely crazy. And you are always at the center of innovation, technology, and efficiency, which is why I love talking to you so much, because you've always got new, creative, but productive ideas that help grow the business. And I want to get into some of that, but I want to get into Grady, also the entrepreneur, and then the kind of growth you guys are experiencing always is just tremendous. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about year to year, Grady. Let's talk about 2022. What are you thinking about when you enter a year like this, right? You're doing, what were you doing a month? How many families were you protecting a month in January?
About 4,000.
Right. So what are you thinking about? And, as you enter the fourth quarter of 21, December-ish, November, December, and you're starting to forecast for 2022, what does that look like?
I mean, I think it's the same thing I think about now. It's the same thing I thought about when I was at 150 families a month, right? And it's like, and I make this joke because it was really a funny experience or a revelation. Is like when I had 10 agents that knew about diabetes the way I did, that it put me in this position where it wasn't like the whole sales, cycle fell on my shoulders to be the conduit for if or not new agent is going to be able to make a sale. And that's the same situation I get to today. It's a creation of leaders, right? And this like token term of build leaders and all this stuff is, maybe bastardized in like social media or in like, business books and whatnot. But the reality though is, in a business like ours, is you're just looking for others that want to bear the cross or hold the sword and wear the shield and walk around and protect their agents, protect clients, lead by example. And that's really the same thought that I have today, I had then. And the bigger picture is, as soon as you can find people that do the action, and this, Mark, but to the reality, to those watching right now, and my appreciation for your time to invest in your business, is the sooner you can find others that want to do what you do at the level you want to do it at, you'll create a business that you won't recognize it in a few months or years down the road, because it's now above and beyond what you are. You were a good example in the beginning. You gave good advice. You gave good direction. You set a good example. But I can't make new agent Jim, Jerry, Bob, or Tim, or Lisa work at the level I can. I can't make them do it. I can show them how to do it. Right. And that's what new agents and new leaders do, is they show the new agent how to do it. And if you start to create a culture of hard work and good production numbers and continually recruiting, investing in staff, investing in office space, you'll create a culture that these are the things you want to do. And I think that's that's more or less what we focused on in 2018 and 2021, and what we'll focus on this year is how can I be a good example and then help give good advice to those that want to create businesses like we've been blessed to do.
No doubt. Well, you said a lot in that segment there. I would say this, when you're thinking about duplication, which is what you're saying, I want to ask you a question, because when you say leadership development, the more people you can get that are do what you do or more, how many people is that, Grady? Like, I'm starting an agency. I'm trying to obviously find as many people that have ambition as possible, but ambition level to the ambition level that I might have it. How many actual people does that look like?
I mean, my business is probably built under 6 legs with, anywhere from 10 to 30 good quality leaders and producers in there, which then leads to hundreds of producers under each of those legs. And so it's not thousands direct, it's being a good sorter and a good communicator of what the proper expectations are if you want to maybe receive agents from me, or if you want to then be a good example for others. But to find people, and it whittles itself down, right? People will trick you, right? I'm going to work hard, Mark. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best producer you ever had. I'm going to sell more than anyone's ever sold, more than you'll never believe. They're going to write books about me, Mark. And then the guy on the third dial day comes and he's back at his old job. And then you'll get the person quiet and silent and just shows up and knocks out 500 dials on a dial day, books up 18 appointments, and just goes, that's what you told me to do, right? So in the biggest thing, I think what we could ever offer to anyone that wants to build a business and wants to build a big insurance agency is just be a good continuous introducer, be a good and recruiter, explanatory, be someone who's constantly introducing people to this business model, about the potential leads, upside for renewals, all the things that are great, the pillars of our company. But you don't know who's going to do it, right? I've been surprised and shocked and let down as many times as you, I'm sure, right? And that is a fun part about the business. And it's not the funnest part when you invest hours into someone and then they ghost you and you're like, I just lost my new brother. Like, what happened, buddy? We were like vibing, and now you won't call me back because you had to buy leads and one didn't answer and told you that this wasn't something they wanted, and you didn't know how to overcome it because you didn't study the objection books. But to answer your question specifically, it's not thousands of direct people. It might be hundreds of introductions, which then will lead to tens of new agents, then will lead to a few great leaders.
Right.
And that's all you're really looking for, is a few great people, but at the same time, continuing to hold yourself to the same high quality regard that you're hoping to find, right? The great adages say, if my team did today what I did, would my business have grown, right? That's an important concept to think about, right? You're not creating beach money here. We're trying to create teams of sales reps. The same standpoint is like, if you recruited, would you dream about recruiting yourself, right? And the people you're trying to recruit, they level up to the quality of person you are. Right, you go out there and hit Hall of Fame back to back to back. It's easy to go recruit a guy who's been knocking out, making tons of money selling cars, because you can explain to him the kind of money you've made selling insurance, and you can talk on the same wavelength. You go out there and protect 7 families a month. You're not going to recruit Hall of Fame car sales bangers, and they just aren't going to respect you because you don't have the same thing. Now, you may have a great opportunity, and maybe you can introduce them to your manager, and maybe you can get them on the phone with someone who's knocked out big numbers. But why not just go lead by example and then offer your family a better quality of life for the effort you put in and created here? So that's kind of, triple answering the question. It's not a ton, but it comes down to a few amazing people is what can create a business that you'll just, you'll all work together with the same common goal, which is to continue to grow your own business, but then helping them grow theirs.
I love it. That's awesome. Talk to us about your mindset around recruiting. Obviously, that's been one of your calling cards, the mindset of biz development and the mindset of multiplication through your efforts in recruiting, but, also through your efforts of duplication in recruiting. So Can you kind of, if I'm doing 150 families a month or 300 families a month, what should I be thinking about when it comes to addition and multiplication in regards to agents?
I would say that as you have gotten better at selling and protecting families and overcoming objections and going from 50% close rate to 65% close rate to 83% to 95, like some of our elite producers who just can get in there and, there's not an objection they can throw if they haven't heard multiple times and overcome. The same thing goes to recruiting, right? And like what I keep this quote on my wall, and I was young. My father met Jim Rohn, and he got him to sign a piece of paper that said "Grady, be the best, Jim Rohn," and I kept it on my office. It was pretty cool. I was like, Dad, that is like, I didn't know what it was when I was younger because I was like, a punk kid, right? But then as you age, you're like, this is like one of the greatest of all time speakers and personal development guys. But Jim Rohn has a good adage in a lot of his trainings where he talks about let the 30s do 30 and the 50s do 50 and the 70s do 70 and the 100s do 100. Is that you don't know what makes going to make them tick, right? Who wants to really retire their mom? Who wants to really give their wife a better life? Who really wants to put their kids in the best possible schools and situations? Or who's just talking? Or who doesn't, I often joke, I'm like, if you're a bachelor, you got to be an ambitious bachelor, right? I got kids. I got them getting me up early and up late, and I'm fighting all day long to make sure that I'm being the best dad, I'm being the best business owner, I'm being the best leader for my team. But like when I was a bachelor, I had minimal ambition, right? Food,
right.
Bar tab and food, right? That was about the extent, and rent, right? But so what I'm saying though is that as you recruit, right? So let's get to the topic, right? As you recruit, you just need to work through people, but then start to look for commonalities amongst people that you find will do well at this. We find people that have a little pressure do well at this. We find people that maybe have a sports or athletic or business background do well at this. We find people who are in communicative skills, have a big background, people that have a big why, right? I talk to young guys that have no pressure, nothing going on. I'm like, what do you need to make? Well, I don't know. I'm a couple, not much. All right. The not much isn't going to push you through those initial dial days. Right. And so from a recruiting standpoint, like that's why you have to put up volume. That's why you have to put up a numbers of ads and have lots and lots of conversations, because, when you don't know who's going to level up to the life that they've dreamt of, right? There is a lot of people out there that want to do well and want a great life. And they've just been, they've succumbed to their surroundings. Maybe they had a rough upbringing, poor parenting, poor environment. And they've just been ambitiously looking for something like our opportunity where they can finally throw their heart over the bar and go to work. And that's really where, from a recruiting standpoint, if you're at 150 families, 300 families, it's you continuing to lead just in the same muscle you're building as production, the same muscle you're building in recruiting. But just like where I made the analogy of 10 people that knew about diabetes, I knew I had a growing business. It's you want 10 people that are also focused on recruiting. That really creates a healthy environment where people are all working at the same thing, trying to introduce this to others. And like what I love about FFL is this isn't like the MLM deals that you and I did in the past, where it's like, come on down to the house party, we're going to give you some samples of juice and it's $2.99 every single month, right? It's like, hey, do you want to get a license or not?
Right.
And we've got interested clients that have filled out requests online or mailed in cards that said they would like someone to help facilitate his request. Does that interest you at all? Are you interested in sales? Because if you say the word sales, guys like us go, I like sales. I like communicating. I feel if I'm selling a product, it's going to put the client or family or whoever I'm communicating with in a better position. I understand the reality, though, is that the highest paid people in the world are salespeople. And in doing so, that would excite me. So that's part of, for all of you who are recruiting, is use words about what we are. Like, don't hide it. Like, this is commission-based sales. There is no base. There is no salary. The sky is also the limit, right? You can create an empire here through continual introductions. And so that's part of it too, for everyone out there that's trying to go, is just look for people whom resonate with the people who are already here being successful. Now, the reality though is, and this is a bigger clarity, the best people are already doing something. They're already doing something, right? So the best people aren't on Craigslist and ZipRecruiter looking for, 40K a year jobs. They're already doing something, and it's going, well, I'm making X, Y, and Z in mortgages or real estate or car sales or roofing or solar. Hey, take a look at what we've got over here. Like, that's really where you're just trying to go, hey, check this out. Hey, check this out. How many people can you get to check out what we do here? Lead-based, commissionable, high comp insurance-based sales inside of the FFO world. And then when you get some people who go, okay, so you guys are going to do almost $1 billion in your 10th year. You've got this level of people. You've got this many people doing X numbers over a month. Like, it just, successful people go, that makes sense to me, right? And like when I saw this, I was like, Andrew Taylor does not look that smart. And when he talks, he doesn't sound that smart, but he's Hall of Fame 3 years in a row. Okay. I've been like, okay, it's like, and then Andrew would go, dude, until I give you a reason not to trust me. We're 5 years in, right. He's never steered me wrong. And, it's odd. You have to like explain business opportunities like that. Like, because there is so much crap out there. Right. There is so much manipulation. There is so much, so many opportunities that fail. You go for life insurance, regulated licenses, big governing bodies trying to protect the house. Like, but we're the people out in the front being good introducers, meeting Bob, Betty, Dolores, Tim, and Lisa. And
where do you come up with this stuff? Bob, Betty, Dolores.
Dolores has been my go-to from day one. Because I had a Dolores and I couldn't close her. And so it's been 5 years, me and Dolores. We've been going at it. So,
dude, you are the master of word tracks.
I love me some Dolores.
No doubt. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had
it's totally fine. But those are so that's kind of from recruiting, wherever you are in your business. It's just understanding, like, there is no real end. There's no end. Like, there's an end, but like, if you recruit someone, you have a continual responsibility to continue to evolve, to be a good example for them. And then if they want to do what you've done, if they want to build a team, then to help them. And guess what? It helps you too. And so that's really kind of the simplicity of the business that I think often gets overlooked, of just, it's not numbers based, it's sorting. And then it's also doubling down with time. I remember I had a good talk with one of my Hall of Fame producers. Like, I just can't get people to sell. And I was like, dude, why don't you just actually care about them? And I mean that, like, I was trying not to come across like a jerk. I was just like spend some real time with people that are putting in the effort and try to get them to over the line. Like, do some real role playing with them. Have them call you every single time they come into the home. Like, all the stuff we used to do. If you're in the home and they don't want to buy, some of you got to call the manager and go, listen, Mark, I'm sitting here with Dolores and Tom, and Dolores and Tom think for some reason that they don't want to buy this. So, we've never had this happen before. Tell me what we need to do here, right? And all of a sudden now you got your manager in your ear. Like, we go back to the basics of, let's help clients overcome our agents overcome these simple client objections of whether it is cost or trust or timing or lack of understanding. But that, like, so I told this guy, and so he's since done that. Now he's duplicated. He's got a ton of Hall of Fame producers now that he's having come out of his team, because he's just doing the work, right? So.
That's incredible, dude. And when you talk, the 10 agents that know diabetes versus the 10 agents that know recruiting, I think that people look at their situation, look at the horizon, and think, wow, that's so far away. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And then I put my head down and go to work, and one day I'm there, but it does feel far away at times, from my first sale to 10 sales a week, from, my first recruit to 10 people recruiting with me. Can you talk about how to get 10 people with you recruiting? What is your mindset around that? Because we're talking to people right now that what you've built is like, I'll never do that. And it's like, you can do that. You know, how do you simplify that?
And a lot of this comes from respect to you. I mean, breaking down, it comes to production, right? It comes to personal production in the beginning. You used to do great trainings. I'm sure you still do, but on your bank accounts, right? And having a lead account, having a personal account, having a business account. And then from the business account, you're just giving just what you need to your personal account. And then in your business account, you're allocating a portion of that towards office expenses, staff, growth, et cetera. And so, to make it real simple, I look for people that are selling a lot and I ask them, do you want to build a business, right? That's the easiest way to go about it, right? You're selling, I don't look for people that are under 10 families a month and ask if they want to build a business, because they're just not a great example to start. They lack the discipline and understanding of how great this opportunity is to even possibly take advantage of it, let alone explain it. So in that reality, I'm looking for people, if you start to produce a lot, let's have a conversation about building a business. You become a really good worker. You become a really good self-employed, and the Kiyosaki quadrant, all this stuff, right? Let's move you to business owner, which means now you've got an agency where you make 5% of what everyone sells. How do you do that? Well, you start to have conversations with people. So, to go, I love that example, to go from your first sale to 10 sales a week, to go from your first recruit to 10 people recruiting. It's all just understanding that it's all on a single line plane, right? There's there's jumps and rocky roads, but it's all here. Like if you just keep taking steps forward, the likelihood of you accomplishing what Mark and I have been humbly able to create is very high if you just keep moving forward, right? What does that include? Selling continuously, growing your mind, personal growth, seeking counsel of mentors, applying what you learn, and repeating that action every single day. If you're a good person who sells a lot and has a good mindset around business and this and what we're creating here, people will naturally start to become attracted to you. The problem is people go through stops and starts. I'm going to do a bunch of zip ads and a bunch of Craigslist ads and talk to a bunch of people for 2 months. And then, well, I got 75 recruits, Mark. Okay, cool. And I'm too busy to keep posting. I'm too busy to keep, putting ads out there. Okay, so let's get them going. We have a little pop, and then all of a sudden the pop starts and it's good. And we're growing, Mark, we're going to explode. We're going to be at 2,000 families a month in no time. And then what happens is they stopped recruiting. So they stopped being the right example. They stopped doing the action that got them there. Wow. They spend all this time with people. And then guess what happens? People start to sell, then people start to quit. And it's not equal percentages, but if you put in 100 people and they all start selling, there is some level of attrition. So there is a lot of people that don't want to work at the clip that we work at. Why? I don't know. I don't want to sign up for that class, as my man Jimmy would say, right? But the reality, though, is the numbers in America of 96% of people make under $100,000 a year, and these are numbers. I'm not making claims or anything. These are just numbers from Wikipedia. Hopefully, that's a credible source. Is that the level of effort it takes to be good here is a level of effort that has to be derived and sometimes created that people don't have. And so if you can just understand that concept and understand that I've got to explain this to a bunch of people, be a good example, but and in time, the compound effect will take over. Like having belief and confidence that you're worth it, having belief and confidence that what you can create, that you have a gift to give, that and I always say that the easiest gift to give is your skill set of sales. Your skill set of sales of what you've derived by sitting across the table, belly to belly, or on the phone with hundreds, if not thousands of clients, give that to people first. You don't know how to have to learn how to navigate all their, home problems or their business problems or all the business strategy that you will learn in time. But just be a good educator. Be a real, that was how I think we all started early on, is let's just give away our sales training. If we give away our sales training, people go, that guy knows how to say some words that I don't know how to say yet.
Right.
And if that guy knows how to say these words, then why not put myself in a position that I can copy them or want to work with them and then start to introduce and create more people. So that's always my early advice, guys, is sell it as much as you can, not comfortably, get uncomfortable with your production, right? It's better there, right? Mark, I protected 7 families this month, real comfortable, still got that same old 13-year-old couch, to break free, to look at what these numbers are, what you can put up and from people that are requesting coverage. It's life-changing. These are life-changing numbers that you can create on your own effort, with your own skill set development, with your own your own time of development, but to start to compound that and then learn how to teach other people to go, hey, these are the words I used to say. Sounds like what I used to say, but now I say these words and the client is more comfortable with me. Go teach 10, 20, 50, 100 people that. You start to build a team. And then they see, okay, so Grady taught me how to say this. And then I'm teaching my new agent how to say this. And all of a sudden, like the agency growth is a byproduct of just action of trying to help make people better. Like, it's not like we all plot and schemed, you know what, I'm going to find these people and they're going to recruit a big Spanish team, and then they're going to recruit a big young team, and they're going to go take people from another company. And then I'm going to create a bunch of whole team of people that just doing, like, I didn't know annuities, right? I got an IUL team. It was just like, hey, you're looking for something. I found something. Does this mesh with you? No doubt. I was a good example of how to act and behave, help myself well. And people go, I can trust this guy at least for a little bit. And now here we are, we keep going together.
That's very
so that's where, like, don't overthink it. Like, just don't, like, there's no algebra. You don't have to learn Portuguese. No one's jugging fire here. Like, it's just be a good example. And what's the best example you can do? Go sell a bunch. It's very easy to trust people to sell a bunch. And why? Because they're doing the exact same thing you're trying to recruit me to do. That's where I think your team has been so successful for the years too.
That's strong, bro. Very strong. Can we go and dive into the technology world a little bit, the efficiency world, and some things you are curating now to help scale business?
Yes. So some of the things that I'm personally doing now, that are working well, right? We live you and I cut our teeth and took our licks in person. And I love it. And if I had a choice, I'd do it all the time. COVID hit, pandemic, the world changed. People are comfortable with telemedicine. They're comfortable with FaceTime. We're on Zoom now, right? The world is on Zoom. And the world has significantly adopted a virtual sales platform, whether that is one call close, calls and appointments, or Zooms. The world, when we're calling client Betty, listen, we've got we can jump through this right now, or they can also send me out to the house. I've got a 6:15 or 6:45 tomorrow. Would you prefer to knock this out now and get your information, or do you want me to swing by the house? Let's just do it now, right? There's so much now sales and appointment setting that revolves around kind of driving the client towards just doing it over the phone, because it's quick and efficient if you know what to say, right? If you know the words, if you've sat and you've learned that the arms crossed, leaning away is the client not into what you're saying, and leaning forward, palms up, they're really like, now they're ready to go. Whatever you say, they're completely interested in what you're saying. The more people you sit with and more appointments you run, the better you'll get. So with the world changing, it's so much more efficient for the people that have built the skill set if they invest enough in leads and have their sword sharp to work in a virtual platform. And I'd probably say half my agency does virtual now. And then this is always my advice. You live in a small town in northern Idaho, and the next closest town is 12,000 people, and that's 3 hours away. Virtual is the way to go. You live in a large metropolitan area, you should start in person. There is no reason to not start in person, because you've got an abundance of people that you can go see. You can learn door knocks, you can learn pausing, you can practice, gaining rapport with clients. And that has, for us, that's kind of my mantra with my team. So one of the things I do is I do a fast start call every Wednesday, where I get on there, and it's kind of like a blend of a Rogue IMO overview of what FFL is, as well at the same time, it's like a fast start call, right? These are leads. This is where you get them. 2 ways to sell, phone tips, product training. I kind of run through it, and I do it every single week with brand new agents. You're either in class, trying to get through class, or you are also in contracting, waiting on your writing numbers, right? And so it's anywhere from 10 to 30 people, just my new, as Paul McLean would always say, base shop, right? Just Paul's big a base shop guy. I think that's from your previous company, but and so this is just my new directs that I'm personally working on. And all my massive agencies have their own things that they do, but I'm finding that these sort of like, because you're never more into something than like the second you find out about it. And then it's like buyer's remorse, right? You buy the new thing, and then all of a sudden you're like happy, and you're like did I really need to spend all that money? And okay, let's go drive it, or let's go sit on it, or let's go lay on the new $6,000 bed, right? Whatever. So in my mindset, I'm trying to keep agents as motivated and excited as possible about their future and the future of this opportunity for during that interim when you do lose people, right? I'm in class, this information is boring and it's hard and I don't know enough about it. And I got my cousin Larry who's telling me about how he tried insurance sales 3 years ago and he didn't make any money. So Lord knows that Larry, who works at McDonald's, is someone that I should listen to, is from good entrepreneurial advice. And just doubt crushes your recruiting efforts more than anything else. Agent doubt. So if you can plug them into your Facebooks, plug them into your email list, keeping them dripped on with positivity, whether it's training calls, testimonials, XY, or you go do overviews each week, just, an hour a week. I jump on, and then from there, I see who's got their camera on, who's listening, who's in the chats, like who's the one that I give them my personal number. And from there, I book individual coaching calls. And then I'm trying to find out who is the serious ones that are great. And who do we just go, hey, give us a call when you're in the home, right? Because sometimes people go, how I'm going to do it, Mark, is I've got, I've got enough money for 8 leads. Listen, Jerry, you're going to need more than 8 leads. It's just, we gotta figure out if this is something you really want to commit to, or if this is something you want to play with. And so those are some of the technology things I'm doing. I mean, obviously always email lists and Slack and Facebook groups, YouTube, Instagram, those are my favorite marketing channels. But one thing I've really implemented is kind of an overview PowerPoint every, a fast start call every Wednesday where I get brand new people on and I just go through the basics with them, open call, and they can ask questions. We can go through it, and the serious ones will be motivated by it. The non-serious ones will be turned off by it. They won't show up again. And then we can just keep bringing in new people and seeing who is it. And I'm not that's the thing, guys. You go recruit 100 people, you're not going to have 100 agents. You go recruit 10 people, you're not going to have 10 agents. It's a percentage thing. People, like we talked about at the top of the call, but you have to, if you want a big business, you got to have a big funnel. And I don't want to figure out why not everybody who applies goes and does it, and why not more people don't apply. I just keep trying to bring more in and being a good example and creating a good ecosystem that when people come in, they're the ones who want to be motivated and confident by these guys have their stuff together. They can trust it. Because when I first started, Andrew texted me a PDF of a crooked Facebook script. That was my training. And then the Facebook group was Brittany Hall and Trey Honeycutt role-playing Final Expense. That was what we had. And so now I'm trying to create this ecosystem where when people come in and they go, these guys have their stuff together. And in business, it's percentages. As the bigger your business, the bigger the percentages create swings. And so for me, if I can create this well-oiled, polished ecosystem that when people come here, they can go, okay, I'm confident, I can trust this. I was so just okay, I trust this Andrew guy kind of, and I'm going to give it hell, right? Most people aren't like me. Most people need a little bit more things to create trust within them to take new leaps of faith. And I understand that, I recognize that, and try to create a good environment. So that's where you guys come in, is as you're trying to build your business, you being a good producer and you being a good positive steward of this business is going to create reverberations within your recruits that trust you to go, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to follow you until you give me a reason not to. You keep selling 10, 15 families a week. I got to figure out how to do it, but I'm going to start there. That seems like a good goal, right? Remember the first time I sold 8 families in a week, I called Andrew crying and I was like, I don't even know what to do. And he's like, bro, it's another day at the office, and hung up on me. And you start to create these standards within this business that you impact and can empower people, but it all comes back to you being a good example for them.
Well, dude, you're a great example for us, all of us, and thank you for sharing for our audience. Just a wealth of knowledge, Grady. I think we need a part 2, but I mean, it's just amazing what you've built, what you're continuing to build, the way you continue to pour into people, the way you continue to find a need to help more people, more families, more agents, and you guys are crushing it. So thank you so much for sharing on our Training Day podcast, my brother.
Appreciate you, Mark. Talk soon, brother.
God bless. Keep listening. This is a valuable, valuable piece of material, folks. Put it in your ear. God bless.